Another hot button topic is what? Oh, come on. Matthew was in the Jim Staley video teaching the Melchizedek, and he had tzitzit on, hanging off the corner of the chair with the red shoes. And then a few weeks later, what's going on? And I've had people say, the reason that we tuned into Torah to the Tribes is like, we saw you then and we see you now. And we're like, what changed? Tzitzit. Let's look at tzitzit, because that's a very interesting book of the law ordinance. But let's look at it. Numbers 5, verse 37. To remember all the commands is the purpose of tzitzit. To remember all the commands and seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which ye used to go a whoring. Does it say anything about looking cool? Does it say anything about your wardrobe? Does it say anything about fashion or religious garb whatsoever? The whole purpose is what? To keep the commandments. That's the purpose. So tzitzit were given post golden calf because the children of Israel needed what? They needed a visible outward sign because they'd already broken the covenant. Some were so hard-hearted that they wouldn't even keep the Shabbat. The ordinance, the command for tzitzits, is on the back of the guy breaking Shabbat because he wanted to go get some sticks. He was so hard-hearted that he wouldn't even keep the Sabbath. They were in a very bad state. The purpose of tzitzit is to remind you a visible outward sign, because your heart is as hard as stone that you can't even keep the Sabbath. Not that you can't, but you won't, because you have a rebellious heart. That you're so rebellious that you're only a few days outside of Egypt. And your heart, you've just seen a miracle upon miracles. But no, your heart is so hard, you've got to construct the Apis bull in gold and dance and fornicate before it, because your heart is so hard and made of stone. We're literally going to have to give you a visible sign to remind you that when you're about to take your clothes off to perform those immoral, iniquitous acts, that you'll stop. But it doesn't work. Because I've known people who've literally been wearing tzitzits as they've committed adultery on their wives. So it doesn't work if it's not circumcised here. The visible sign is the best thing that Yahweh had for an iniquitous, hard-hearted generation. But the reality is there's something better. Jeremiah 31, Hebrews 8, chapter 8, verse 10 tells us there's a way better way to get the best result. The result is Yahweh wants us to keep the commands. Now, if you think that wearing the tzitzit is better than having a circumcised heart and the tablets not written on stone but written on your heart in the new covenant, then go ahead. But I can tell you what, when my heart is turned towards Yahweh, it penetrates my mind. Because if you even start looking at a woman with lust in your eyes, you've committed adultery. So it's bigger than the fabric. It's got to be here that changes here that then affects here, right? Because I used to, when I was a pagan, like the smell of bacon. Now the smell of it is repulsive to me. Why? Because he changed my heart. It affected my mind, that changed my senses, that now my hands don't want to reach for it. That's how true conversion works. It starts with the heart, which changes the mind, which affects the senses, including your sexual senses, that then changes your actions. Right? So again, slowing this down, tzitzit had a purpose. and a very good purpose. But the main purpose is Yahweh wants us to keep the commandments. Tzitzit were given post-golden calf because the children of Israel needed a visible outward sign because they'd broken the covenant. They wouldn't even keep Shabbat, some of them. But in the post-resurrection and new covenant reality, we have to ask ourselves the question, what is more effective? What is more effective? The administration of threads or the administration of commands on the heart? That should be self-evident. Which one will produce the desired effect of keeping the commandments of Yahweh more effectively is the point, isn't it? There's nothing wrong with wearing tzitzits, but religion is when you make your opinion my burden. So let's keep your religion out of my closet and out of my shaving kit. Okay? These are just things that I've come up with over the past decade that are the hot button topics, and there's more. But Hebrews 8:10 does tell us, for this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. Of course, he's quoting Jeremiah. After those days, says Yahweh, I will put my laws into their mind and write them upon their hearts. That's the purpose. That's what makes you keep the commands. That's what makes you keep the commands. An amazing testimony. And I will share this because I am proud of what Yahweh has done in my life. But I remember right after being converted, taking filthy, lewd material because I was a heathen and literally going outside and setting it on fire and burning it and being done. Being done. Nobody had to tell me that. I knew because I was converted. That was it. That was iniquitous, and I burnt it out in the driveway. That is conversion, and never to look back. Praise Yahweh. That's how it works. Yes, I wore tzitzits for a decade. But praise Yahweh, I've been able to go now through and see what is the greater thing that is trying to be communicated here. And quite honestly, it was when that tzitzit wearing Messianic committed adultery on his wife. I asked him if he was wearing them, he said yes. That made me go, that really started to make me drill down even further. That has brought me to this conclusion. So, even Yahweh will use what Satan would use for destruction, will even use it for glory for the greater good. Right? That's redemption. We're sorry that some fall along the way, right? But that's their decision and choice. There's others that will be raised up because of a man's falling. Isn't that how the Father works? How many times have you seen that? People fall down. And then you try and help them up and they won't get up. So then, you carry on. And then the testimony of the guy who fell down actually brings 6 or 7 people into the fold. That is the mercy of the Father in heaven. The mercy. How come I'm standing here, yet I know of half a dozen that are in the grave that I used to walk with? I'm no more righteous. Most probably more iniquitous. Wow. That just keeps me and should keep you in this position of he is a merciful Elohim, is he not? And we only have a short time to do a grand work. We don't have time to mess around with that stuff. So, again, my admonition is keep your religion to yourself because your opinion becomes my burden. And that's the definition of religion, isn't it, really?